Hello and welcome back. I've always loved little plastic figures and plastic play sets, and I've spoken about them before a few times on my channel. I've done videos about the classic dinosaur and cavemen Battle Mountain, and the sci-fi based Galaxy Laser Team figures. And I've also mentioned my love of the classic Godzilla vs. Tricephalon playset from HG Toys in the late 1970s. Plastic playsets were a staple on toy shelves back in the 1960s, with a large number of playsets being produced by manufacturers like Marx Toys, and they lasted into the 1980s, where you could find a wide variety of fantasy-based playsets during the initial Dungeons and Dragons craze. But they did fall out of favor, and these days you can only find them on sites like Amazon or collector sites that deal specifically with plastic army men and similar type toys. But I decided I wanted to put a custom playset together myself using various parts and pieces gathered from all kinds of sources. The theme of my playset would be monsters, and the basis for it are these figures. On Amazon, you can find a variety of plastic figure sets from a company called SCS Direct. They make sets based on robots, spacemen, dinosaurs, fantasy figures, and monsters. And the monster set is where these figures come from. These are versions of the classic Universal Monster Big Five: Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy, Frankenstein's monster, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. These are not exact versions of the Universal monsters because these are not licensed, but they are visually distinct enough from the originals. With these five in place, I began to gather all the other parts I needed for a complete playset. Also included in that same monster set were these pieces. We have a Cyclops, looking very much like the classic Harryhausen version from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, a classic looking devil or demon figure with bat wings, and a zombie, and a few different tombstones that are going to work nicely as scenery pieces. SCS also makes a set made up entirely of zombies. So from that set I gathered this handsome looking crew, because it's not a monster mash until the undead come out to play. I'm going to need a few creepy creatures to supplement my set. So from the SCS Fantasy Figure set I grabbed some wolves, so I could have a proper wolf pack. And from out of a bin of various animals that I keep, I grabbed a couple of snakes and scorpions. There is a discount store in my area called Dollar General that usually carries a nice selection of toys and decorations every Halloween season. So from Dollar General I grabbed two sets of little plastic figures, the first being this one, 8 different witches, so I can make an entire witches' coven for my set. The second set of figures from Dollar General are these skeleton warriors. Going back to my love of Ray Harryhausen films and that famous scene from Jason and the Argonauts, these are another type of classic monster that are going to fit in very well with my playset. We're done with figures for now, moving on to the supplemental pieces like scenery. And all the pieces I've gathered for the scenery are from various small playsets that I've picked up over the years, and I have a big bin full of plastic parts and pieces. Here we have some undead trees and some rocks, and these are going to fit in very nicely in the haunted graveyard that I'm going to make as part of this set. Some more scenery pieces. We have a nice coffin, a couple of different tombstones, what looks like a mausoleum entrance. I have 2 of those green towers that I think came with a set of army men, and a dozen of those fence pieces that are made from bone. Those are going to make up the fence around my haunted graveyard. One of the big centerpiece items from the set is going to be this haunted tree. This mold has been around for years. I remember seeing it back in playsets in the 80s, and it's still being made today, and it's a great looking monstrous tree with a serpent wrapped around it. And it is a really good size. Here's a size comparison with one of the monster figures. So the monster figures in the set are about 2 inches tall. So you can see how big that tree is. It stands a little over 5 inches. There is one more thing I thought my playset needed, and that is some big monsters. You guys know I love the big monsters. And I'm using these guys to also add a splash of color to the set, to break up all the monochromatic pieces. Once again, these are from Amazon, and all three of these figures are made by a company called Recur, R-E-C-U-R, and they make figures very similar to companies like Papo and Safari Limited and Schleich. These are all solid PVC figures, very nicely detailed and really well painted. And you can see I have a griffin, a dragon, and a three-headed fiery hellhound. So now that I've gathered all these creepy characters, where are they going to live? What realm are they going to inhabit? I had a couple of different ideas, but then I settled on a classic monster locale, a haunted castle. On Amazon, you can find a wide range of different castle playsets. They come in different sizes and styles, different price points, with a different number of pieces in each set, and they usually include knights and horses and dragons and have a medieval theme. But I purchased one that looked like it would work well with a monster theme. And the castle I chose had to be completely assembled. It all came as flat pieces. So these towers were actually a flat piece that had to be folded into the rectangle shape, and I had to assemble all these dark gray pieces and the parapet and the floors and everything inside them. And the walls of the castle have little clips on them that slide into the spaces on the towers, so it's easy enough to put it together and take it apart for storage. Let me assemble the castle, put all the parts in it, and we'll see what it looks like. The castle also came with a number of different play parts, some of which I'm going to incorporate into my set, which include this giant crossbow, which includes a couple of bolts that are fired by elastic, some treasure chests and barrels, and the ladder. Here's the assembled castle, and you can see it's not a bad size for these figures. The towers are about 8 inches tall, and the castle itself is a square configuration. It's 12 inches on each side. Not much on the interior, but there's plenty of room to put different figures and accessories. And there are those brown platforms that attach to the 3 outer walls to provide you with a little more standing space at the top of the castle. The last thing I need for my playset is a place to keep it all. I need a box. I could have taken the easy route and just gotten a plastic tub to put it all in, but I wanted this to have the feel of a classic 60s, 70s, 80s playset, so I definitely wanted a cardboard box to keep it all in. This is a box I found at the local collector shop, and this box is used for storing trading cards. It's nice white corrugated cardboard, and you have to take the lid off. Inside it is sectioned off to keep trading cards. Now I took out 2 of the dividers. You can see here and here. I removed the dividers, and that allows everything to fit inside quite nicely. Here's how everything fits inside that box, and it is just about the perfect size. I've got the castle parts and the larger figures in the big sections on either side, and all the smaller pieces right in the middle. I wanted a white box for a reason. That's because all those classic playsets had some really nice illustrations on the outside of the box. And that's what I'm going to do with this. Some of you may know I'm a bit of an artist. In the description of all my videos, there's a link to my Redbubble shop where you can buy stickers and other items with my drawings on them. Shameless plug. So I'm going to make some illustrations for this box, use Photoshop to help me out with some of the lettering, and we'll put it all together and see how it looks. Here's the process I went through to create the artwork for the box. I started off by penciling the scene. Then I went back in and inked over the pencils. I used Photoshop to create my lettering. And then I colored the scene with markers and pencils and put it all together. I wanted the artwork to invoke the old-style playset boxes that had the hand-drawn and colored artwork on them, which I think are sometimes more interesting to look at than digitally created artwork. Additionally, for the back of the box, I created a hand-drawn playmat. Vintage playsets often came with things like vinyl playmats and cardboard backdrops to enhance the play value of the set. So this illustration can serve as a foundation for the play area. That's all for this video and the creation of my custom Haunted Castle playset. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for your time and attention, and I'll see you in the next video.